Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Dukester's Den. Glad you could be with us today. And today we are going to get into something that the Dukester has looked at for a long time, just has never been one to really jump fully in, always just kind of watch from the perimeter. And so finally have kind of convinced myself to do a little bit of online betting where these National Football League games are concerned. Always been a lifelong football fan. Followed it very closely. Had a lot of friends that are real good uh, fans of the game, but also like to bet as well. Fortunately, I can say they're mostly pretty responsible. And when we get into betting, obviously that's something everybody should be aware of. The dangers of the addiction of betting, just like any addiction, it can have, long lasting ramifications on your life, especially from a financial perspective. So, kind of a little bit of a qualifier. I will tell you this, I am a complete rookie. I'm probably even lower than a rookie. Not a lot into the whole betting thing, but I thought, you know what? Let's have a little fun with it for a change. Because there's a little saying that I did come across, and a lot of what I have to say for those of you who have done betting and things like that before, it's all going to be kind of new, or not new, but kind of a rerun sort of thing. But it's all new to me. And if you're watching for the first time, you're like me, and you kind of thought about a little bit of sports betting, then perhaps you'll be able to identify with me and have a little bit of fun with this as we go along. But there is a saying, it's called life is too short to bet the under. And so we'll get into that as we look into these games for week number 7 of the National Football League. And again, we're not too far away from game 4 of the World Series. We have been keeping in touch with that. Still have my prediction of the Dodgers in 6. So that's looking pretty decent at the moment. But today we're going to talk about football and looking at the spreads and the over-under. So last week when I attempted to do this, and I thought maybe do a little bit of practice before really indulging into it and getting serious and maybe making a pick or two myself. Obviously, there's all kinds of sites out there that people can get themselves involved with. You need to pick the one that you find offers the best, the best product to you, and perhaps some little perks along the way. So anyway, last week, week 6, on the under, I ended up, 5 and 4 on the early ones, 6 and 5 in the late ones. Spread was 4 and 5 and 4 and 7. Ended up 4 and 7. I think it was 11 games last week with the buys and everything. So games that I picked, the under, which was 6 of them, I was 4 and 2. The over, there was 8 of them I picked the over, and I was 3 and 5 in those ones. So it's really hard to say what's the right way to go. And of course, we know a lot to do with betting. There is a lot of luck involved. But the more I keep watching other videos and reading up and videos on betting, sports gambling, there seems to be that some people have a little bit of a niche for it. They have some things that they stand by for principles. And those are things that I'll learn along the way. And as I learn something, I'll definitely pass it along. And you can either say I'm full of crap, or, yeah, I get that could probably work a little bit. But it seems to be a streaky thing. But nonetheless, we're going to have some fun with this moving forward. So as we get into showing the picks, of course, football betting, got to have a beer to do the Dukester's Den, obviously. So we're all set to go. Saturday night as well. All right. So let's see how we fare out this week. We'll come back next week and go over the results obviously for that. So in the early games, first one I have down is Detroit and Atlanta. Detroit 2 and 3, Atlanta 1 and 5. So obviously not two juggernauts of the NFL. I'm going to kind of go with Atlanta to cover the spread, and this has nothing to do with winning the games. Obviously, remember, it's not about winning the game. Can they cover the spread? They're favored by 2. I think they will do that. So actually, they're going to win this game. And on the over-under, I'm going to go with the under on this one for some reason. I thought 55 was kind of high for those two teams. No rhyme or reason to any of these picks here. I guess I kind of looked at some stats in terms of defense and offense and all that kind of stuff. to kind of conclude my picks. Some will be, I think pretty decent. Others, people will probably say you're crazy. There's no way that's going to happen. But again, it's just to have some fun and to add to the whole weekend or on Sunday, Monday of the NFL season to watch what happens. And ironically, the first game I did was on Thursday night with the Giants in Philadelphia. I think the Giants, Philadelphia was 4.5, something like that. I picked them to cover that. And I also picked the over, which was 43.5. I ended up losing on both ends. Philadelphia did get the win, but I think it was by a point or 2 points or something like that. So I didn't get nothing out of that one. So it goes to show you. So I'm going to go with Atlanta, and I'm going to pick the under there. In the second game that I picked, there's Cleveland and Cincinnati. Cleveland is a 3-point favorite. The over/under is 51. Cleveland 4-2 on the season. Cincinnati 1-5. I do think Cincinnati is going to get better with Joe Burrow. I think he's going to be an impressive rookie. I think he's going to do all right there in Cincinnati, and things may get better, but not right now. I do think Cleveland is in a direction they need to be going. Had a big hiccup last week against Pittsburgh in a divisional game, so another divisional game for them on the road. So I'm going to go with Cleveland to cover that. They will win by more than 3. And I'm actually going to take the over in this one. Buffalo and the New York Jets. Obviously, the Jets getting rid of Le'Veon Bell, releasing him. He goes and plays for Kansas City. The rich get richer. But you know what? Things may start to settle down in New York. I don't think this is the week it's going to happen. Adam Gase is supposed to be an offensive guru, so to speak, but he's going to need, time to do things, assuming that the management gives him and the fan base will stick with it, which is really hard to say right now. Buffalo is a 10.5-point favorite in this. They actually were 11 yesterday. So I have them winning. They will cover that 10.5. They will win by more than 11. And because of that, obviously, I do believe they're going to go over the 46 between the two teams. Carolina and New Orleans. This is going to be an interesting one. New Orleans is obviously out with Michael Thomas. I think I read somewhere there's another receiver that's not going to be there. So you mean the passing game, which is something they really rely on, is not going to be quite what it normally is. A lot of Alvin Kamara. Not that he can't put points on the board. He can. But I just don't see that game. I don't see it hitting the 51 for the total. So I'm going to take the rare under on this one between those two teams. And I do not think New Orleans is going to cover. I'm going with Carolina on that one if I was a betting guy, which I'm becoming. What am I talking about? Anyway, Dallas and Washington. Isn't those just woeful games in the NFC East? Remember once upon a time when the NFC East used to be a real powerhouse back in the day with Troy Aikman and the Cowboys, Joe Theismann and the Redskins in the 80s, and of course the tuna with the Giants. Philadelphia just the last few years, they did win a Super Bowl back a few years ago, but they've normally kind of just been up and down. But this is a woeful division right now, the worst in all of football. Dallas is a 1-point favorite going into Washington. These guys couldn't stop you and me. That defense is so atrocious. And now with all the conflict that you're hearing coming out of Dallas, how the coaching staff of, Mike McCarthy, just not a lot of complaints and stuff like that about the Cowboys. So in this particular game, I'm going to go with Washington. Taking Washington at home. I think Washington will win that game. Dallas just a 1-point favorite. No, I don't think they can. And I think Washington's gonna take that one. I do think they will go over because that defense is terrible. And I think Washington itself is capable of putting up, 30 points on that defense. So we'll see what happens there. Green Bay and Houston should, when your season started, you look at that game as one that would probably be, one for the season, a highlight of the season. Two very good teams. But Houston's on a bit of rough times these days. Green Bay 4-1, coming off their first loss against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers last week in Tampa Bay. Houston 1-5, fired their head coach, Bill O'Brien. And so now it's a case, can they turn the ship around? Can Houston get that done? Well, I think Houston is going to. I think they're going to actually win this game against Tampa Bay. So I do not believe Green Bay being the favorite is the bet that I would take this week. 57 points, I do think it's going to be a bit high scoring. So I'm going to take the over in that game. Pittsburgh and Tennessee. This will be maybe the highlight game of the week, possibly. That, along with Seattle and Arizona, should be a great game. We'll get to that one shortly. Tennessee and Pittsburgh, both of them have kind of had played a bunch of soft teams so far. Each haven't had one real solid contest. It's in Tennessee. They are a 1-point favorite. I do believe Tennessee will take that one. They're both 5-0 coming into this game, so somebody potentially coming out at 6-0. You never know; could be a tie, but I'm doubting that. So I'm going to grab Tennessee in that one. I don't think they're going to put up 51 points. I think that's going to be more of a running thing. Two really decent defenses, so I'm going to go with the under in that particular game. Tampa Bay. Las Vegas was a little bit taking time. I think it was just today that the odds were made for this game. Apparently, there's been some COVID-19, waits to see what was going to happen, who and all was going to play in these games. So Tampa Bay, Las Vegas. My boy Tom Brady still got his uniform. He may not be with us in body, but he will always be with us in spirit. We will always hail to number 12. He is the GOAT, of course. And so he is doing his thing in Tampa Bay. Had to get a little tough with some of his teammates on the sidelines there a couple of weeks ago. Got some flack for that, of course, in this day and age of political correctness. And, you can't say something to somebody or else you're mean. Tom said, screw that. I'm here to win, and you guys need to pick up the pace, and this is what we need to do in order to get it. And so he did get results last week against Green Bay. They are a 4.5-point favorite for that one. I am going to take Tampa Bay to win that. I think they're going to win pretty handily in this game, going away with it. 52, yes. Oops, never put the, let's see, over under for that. Sorry about that, guys. So over under, excuse me. And I'm going to take the over on 52 for that one. Los Angeles and the Chargers and Jacksonville. That should be a real humdinger. 1-5 Jacksonville, 1-4 Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are 7.5-point favorites. I really like the young quarterback Justin Herbert for the Chargers. I still think they have a pretty reasonable defense that they should be able to hold a Jacksonville team down with that. So I'm going to take the Chargers to hold that spread. They will win by more than 7.5, is my opinion for that game. And I'm going to stay. I don't think 49 points is going to be attained. I'm going to take the under on that one. Of course, that goes against life is too short to bet the under, but sometimes that's where the smart money goes, so I'm told. So anyway. KC and Denver. KC yesterday, if I read correctly on Bodog, I think they were up to 9 to win that game. It's now dropped down to 7.5, which is a little bit more favorable. You know what? I think this is an easy one to take. Kansas City, they've just been lighting it up. Running the ball as well last week against Buffalo was a great win for them, getting a little more dimensional. And, of course, with Kansas City, you generally are going to take the over on this. Of course, as I keep going through this every week, I will get better at learning different things that I need to know in terms of stats and information. So looking forward to it. Thinking it'll be a lot of fun as we go along. My New England Patriots, home to the San Francisco 49ers. They had to win that game last week against Denver. That was a game that really they needed to have a W in if they're to have a shot to make the playoff, which I know a lot of people didn't really give them a chance for this year. But I think Cam Newton is showing that he is healthy. A little hiccup there with the COVID thing. But aside from that, he had one game there, the game in Seattle, where he was rifling in that game. And the problem is they just don't have the receivers. They just don't. It's running out of the backfield, him running even shorter yardage, I think, than Brady when he was there and stuff. So New England at San Francisco. Never bet on your own team, I guess, is the philosophy here. And I probably would stay away from this one in terms of the money. But for the pick of this, I am going to take my Patriots at home, and that they'll cover that 2.5. They might win by 3. Who knows? But I do think they'll win this one. And this is a game 44.5. I'm thinking, you know what? Those two teams, they should probably get the over on this one. 2 real good games to finish out the week. Sunday night, another marquee matchup, Seattle at Arizona. 5-0 Seattle, 4-2 Arizona. Big game for Arizona if they want any chance to get back into a chance to win the division, which I think they do. They're getting better. Kyler Murray keeps maturing every week, especially with DeAndre Hopkins. This team is growing. Seattle at 3.5. Nope, I don't think. I am going to take Arizona at home at this one. They'll either win it real close, right, or they're gonna win the game. They'll win it or they'll lose real close. Over under of 55, kind of based on some of the things that I looked at. You would think this is a game that should go over 55. I'm going to go against the house this time. I'm going to say it's going to be a under. I think everybody's anticipating high scoring. A lot of times when that happens, go the safer route. Chicago and the Los Angeles Rams. These are 2 teams defensively who are both very strong defensively, trying to find their offense and stuff like that. LA is a 6-point favorite. Though I do think LA can win the game. They may very well win the game. I don't think they're going to win by 6. I think it's going to be a field goal, 4 points, somewhere in that area. 45. No, I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game, and so I'm going to stay with the under once again in that one. So, just out of curiosity, how many of the 1, 2, 3, 4? Whoops! A little bit of a technical difficulty going there. Makeshift studio. This is what you get. So, so of the 13 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So took the under in 6. Took the over in 7. So we'll see if the philosophy of life is too short to bet the under adheres this week. So anyway, guys, that's my take for this week. Let's see how it goes. Probably get myself set up by tomorrow morning and bet on 1 or 2 of these games. Won't indicate which ones it is, but have some time to kind of look this over further. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. Hope you all have a great weekend. Hope your team does well, except if you're a 49ers fan against the Patriots. Can't have that happening. And enjoy time with friends and family, and have a great weekend. Everybody take care. Bye for now.